Alright, everybody. I'm going to unhook this battery charger. It's holding 14 volts. I'll turn that off. Now, we're going to see if the alternator is doing its job here. Because last night, this battery was completely fucking dead. And I mean dead. I mean, it was stone cold fucking dead. So, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Here we go. We'll just get in it here and fire it up and see if the old alternator's doing its job. If not, I have another one. Okay. Give her a pump. According to the volts gauge, it's charging. I guess it's working. Don't know why it went completely dead. Plus it stinks in here. I figured I'd blow a little bit of exhaust fumes around in here. See if I can get it to smell a little better in here, as it fucking stinks. The only thing I remember doing the other day was flipping this switch and leaving it on. All right. That's right at 12 volts right now, just to switch on, because I have electric fan and my fuel pump. It pulls right off the battery with the switch. So I don't know. I don't know what the fuck happened between Friday night and Saturday evening, but whatever it was, it had one hell of a draw on this fucking battery. And I'm going to try and see if I can get a battery tester off somebody to see if it's currently drawing for some reason, or, if the battery's just developing a dead cell, maybe. I'm not real sure. I guess we'll find out that way. So the only real way to know is to test it, and that's how you're going to have to test this battery load tester to see if we're getting if the battery's still good, and if anything's drawing any juice anywhere for any reason. But I had like a Night Rider type scanner light in my grill there, and that switch in the dash operates it. And one day it quit working, along with my radio. None of that stuff's working right now. But the fuses are not blown in the fuse box, because I tested them all. All those fuses are currently working on both sides. Because the only way to really test them with a test light is to touch both sides, you know. I mean, with the battery hooked up, there is a draw to the fuse box, because you have to have power to, like, your lights and your dome light and other accessories that, you know, you can flip with a switch in here will still work, whether the master switch of the column is on or not. So I'm thinking that, you know, it's going to have a little bit of a draw, but nothing to drain it within a whole day. I mean, I don't understand why. But if I don't get to test it, I'm going to leave it unhooked off the battery charger for tonight, the rest of the day, and all night tonight. And then tomorrow, when I get home from work, I'm going to try it again and see if it is dead or not. Because right now, it looks pretty goddamn healthy, judging by the light back here. It looks like it's pretty good. So hopefully it's just nothing, and it was, I don't know, maybe it was that switch. But I know that switch isn't even supposed to draw power without switch on, because you just can't flip it on. It comes on its own, unless there's something going on with that wire that's going on, because I have a wire from the box to the switch, and then wires come out of the switch. One goes to ground, and the other runs out to that light, which I can't get to work anymore. I might put some jumper wires on the wires of that thing and see if I can make it work. Maybe it still works. Maybe there's something in the wire that's fucked up, making it not work. It's not real important. I did it because I thought it looked cool. I have a couple videos on there, you know, if you want to see them. You dig back in through my selection. There's over 314 videos on here of my shit. So if you go back into my selection of old videos, I think it's like 4 or 5 years old, I think now, something like that. I don't know. You have to go back and look. But I have a scanner light. It has a remote with it to change the different functions of it, but I have it just like it would be on the Knight Rider TV show. It just goes back. You can change the speed of it. I have it at 1 speed. It's slow, back and forth. That's the way I like it. You know, just slow, and that's just how I like to do it. But I have another one of those lights, and it changes colors and does all them other functions that this one does. This one's only red that's on the Chevelle. The other one, I can change it to green, purple, blue, red, yellow. Any color you imagine, I can change it. And it has all these different functions. It does the back and forth, or it'll do from center out. It'll flash side to side like the cop strobes do, which I don't like putting that one on driving it down the road, because then somebody thinks, you know, hey, there's a fucking cop. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you can change it red and blue for cops, and that's not a function that I want on that, because I can get my ass in trouble with that fucking shit, because some asshole cop would pull the fuck over and, oh, you're trying to be a cop, aren't you? I say, no. But it would be cool to flash that thing on and let people think that you are at night, and then just, you know, they'd all move over for you. That would be all right. That would be fucking cool. But anyhow, there's your half-ass cold start I was going to do in the last video, but I never got a chance to because the fucking battery was dead. So there you have it. And I don't know. It's kind of shitty out. It's cold. It's like hell here. It's motherfucking fall, people. I fucking hate fall. Can't stress you enough how bad I hate fall, because the cold fucking snow blowing up your ass weather is coming. It'll be here before you know it. And it'll stay. It'll seem like for any fucking eternity. It'll be here. It'll stay here and piss me off and make me grumpy and hateful, and I'll be a mean, hateful bitch. Another thing I wanted to touch base on while I'm thinking about it. Got back issues today. I've been arguing. I'm part of these Chevelle sites on Facebook, and there's one thing I'm arguing with some fellas on there with. Now I'm going to promote somebody else's channel that probably doesn't need it from me. But I'm going to tell you, there's a channel on here. It's called Patrick Glenn Nichols Muscle Car Barn Finds. This guy, he is a fucking genius at reading these VIN numbers on these old muscle cars, especially 1970 Chevelles. Okay? Now, the reason I'm telling you that is because these people on this fucking Chevelle site on Facebook, they're all claiming that you cannot read the VIN off a 1970 Chevelle. Because a guy on there says, hey, I'm new to the group. I have a 1970 Chevelle SS 396 4-speed. I paid $58,000 for it. Why? Why? You can find one so much cheaper somewhere. You just got to shop around. Just don't jump on the first fucking thing you see, because people are nuts for these 70 Chevelles right now. The guy was wondering if it was a true SS 396 car. He said he thought it was numbers match, and that's what he was told from the other guy that sold it to him. And he was wanting to know how you find this out. And I'm like, there's a book that's called By the Numbers. I remember this book because Year One used to sell them. You could get this book out of Year One restorations. It's called By the Numbers, and it has every VIN number that it'll show you how to read every VIN number from General Motors vehicles. All of them, clear up to like the 1980s or 90s, whatever. Now, I know for a fact that you can tell on these VIN numbers the body style, which is 4-door hardtop, 4-door sedan, 2-door sedan, 2-door hardtop, convertible, station wagon. It has a code on there for each of those bodies. It has a code on there whether it's a Malibu, whether it's a Super Sport. It has a code on there to tell you what paint that was on it, what color it was. It has on there whether it had a bench seat or not, whether it was a 4-speed, whether it was a big block car, whether it had posi, gear ratio. The gear ratio's on the fucking rear end with the matching number to the fucking plate. It'll have the same number on the rear end tag as what'll be on this fucking protector plate under here. I'm going to show you this fucking plate. And these people are idiots on this fucking page because they have no fucking clue what the hell they're talking about. I'm going to show you. You can't really see mine real good because I painted this son of a bitch. Let's look here. I'm trying to clean some of the dust off of it. You can't see it real good, but this is the plate under the hood. That is where you get all your information at. Well, my car, I'm going to tell you all right now. I am very truthful, and I will be honest with you. This motherfucker here is not a super sport car. It is not. And it is a Malibu. It is a 2-door hardtop Malibu. Okay? It had a bench seat from the factory. I still have the seat. Because I took it out. Because it's wore the fuck out. I took it out. It's back here sitting in the corner of the garage up off the floor. I have the door panels front and back. I have armrests back there. At least I think I have some. I don't know. I don't remember if I do or not. But anyway, I think they're the stock ones I'm using right now. And I painted the dash. I painted the fucking headliner. I bought brand new carpet and put in this thing. The back seat is original and it needs recovered because it's getting bad. Even though there's no ass has been sitting in it, it's just deteriorating. It needs new foam put in it, a new cover put on it. It was green. The interior was green in this car. It is a mist green metallic color, which is that light metallic green that everybody hates. Back then it was popular because, you know, these post-World War II fellas loved that color, and that's what they bought. They bought it because they liked it. And GM must have had a trainload of that fucking paint. Because just about everything they had back then was that fucking green. This is a 307 car with a turbo 350. That is what this car was originally. Now, since I got my hands on it, when I bought it, it was green. I have a video of the pictures of my restoration on this car that I solely did myself. And it took me a long time because there was a certain way I wanted it and a way I had to have it. So I have a video on the restoration of this. You can dig down through my videos and find it. It'll be me. It'll be a picture of my fingers holding a picture of it when it was in primer in front of my garage door out here. I've had this car for a long time. I've had it since 1996. And it was green. It was that ugly green. I never changed the hood. I put fenders, inner fenders, bumpers, grill, trunk lid, quarter panels, the outer wheel well housings was the only thing available back then. They didn't have the inner because it's a two-piece on the back wheel well. So I fixed the inner with other metal. I welded pieces in because the car was wrecked on the one side. Plus the frame was bent in the back and I straightened it. I put a new valance panel on the back, put a new bumper on the back. I put new tail lights in it. All the old fixtures, like as far as that holds the parking light lenses in, is old original stuff. It has 3 of the original headlights from the factory. Those are the original chrome headlight rings. They are factory. This car has not had that stuff replaced. They are in such good shape. Whoever had this car took good care of it. It has a lot of miles on it. I mean, it could have 200,000 miles. I don't know. The fucking thing don't run that high. It don't run the 100,000 mile range. But I can tell you, it's never turned over since I've had it. I haven't turned it over to all 9s. So, that just goes to show you how much it's out and it's about. And now, I never put no wiper arms on it. Those are the originals. The strip under the windshield, that's original. All the chrome and stainless on this thing, except for the bumpers, is original. And that rocker molding is not original. And I had to put a wheel well molding on the passenger side rear because the factory one was smashed up because it was smashed in back there behind the back tire, and I had to cut that quarter out and put a new one in it. So, with all that shit being said, those guys on that site on Facebook, I think it's like Chevelle 64 to 72 Club or something. Right now, I'm the top contributor because every time they say Taillight Tuesday or Side Shot Saturday or whatever, I'll put a picture of my car on there. And I get a lot of compliments on it. But anyway, those guys are claiming that you can't read what these cars, 1970 Chevelles, have by that goddamn VIN tag on the fucking firewall. And that's a fucking lie. Patrick Glenn Nichols, Muscle Car Barn Finds, does this several hundred fucking times on YouTube. He's got a channel This is what he does. He can read these fucking Chevelle VINs. He can even read the ones off Pontiacs. He knows the codes. He can tell you what plant the fucking car was built at. He can tell you about characteristics about the stripes, whether it's a factory stripe job still or not. One factory, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to have to unhook this battery charger. My stripes are not factory stripes. They're shit that I had put on. That's the only thing I didn't do to this thing. I didn't put the stripes on it. The stripes are not my doing. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about these stripes. All right. See how it's squared in here and it's rounded here? There's one factory that made Chevelles for 1970. And when they put these stripes on, there's one factory that squared them off in the inner. And then there was another one that rounded them here. It was all round. It wasn't squared off or cornered like this one. It was round on both ends. All the stripes were the same width. Like my stripes on my trunklet are really wide. They're 15 inches wide. They don't need to be, but they are. Because the people I took it to just made it that way. It's like these ones, they get wider as they go up. At least it seems to be. Looks like it to me. It is. But those are subtle differences. And plus, from the factory, you would see overspray on here. Like where they finished them, sometimes it would be like some of it would be missing or out of line here. He points out those obvious fucking details. Now that's just shit that he knows. And plus, like, they'll have the tower hose clamps. And he knows the Holley numbers of the carburetors for the 454s that they put in the 70 Chevelle, because they put Holleys on those. They put 780 double pumpers on them. Now these guys are telling me that you can't read the VIN number. It won't tell you shit. That plate won't tell you a fucking thing, is what they're telling me. And I know for a fact that they are full of fucking shit motherfuckers. And I'd stopped commenting because now they're all pissed off at me. And they're telling me what a fucking mean old geezer I am for being on there and telling them shit. Because what ultimately happens here, folks, this muscle car trend, this is a trend. This is a popular trend right now. A bunch of rich fucking assholes are going and buying all these cars up, which it's obvious at this point you know this. They're buying them all up because their friends are buying them all up. They're all following each other because we live in a world where people follow each other because they're stupid. And they don't want to be left out of the trend. I gotta be in the trend. All my rich friends are in the trend. Now, this guy that bought this car, he shoved a camera in through the quarter panel and saw mud hanging on the inside of the quarter panels on both sides. Now, it has had some bodywork, substantial bodywork done. Lots of bodywork. Whoever did the bodywork did an excellent job because the dark color of the car is, you can't see it in the pictures. Now, whether you probably could if you get up to it in the, in like lights like this in here. You can see shit like that. You can see flaws. I can show you right now on my car where I fucked up with a buffer when I was buffing the paint out. Because you can still see it. Because I had a feather pad on and it got plugged up with shit and I left it get hard and I tried it again and I fucked up a couple spots. That's just my mistake. That's how that shit happens like that. But this guy here, he is saying, oh, did I overpay? Yes, you fucking did. But the guy also has his own business. And he's bragging to me on there, oh, fuck you, I started my own business from nothing, and blah, 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 blah. You're preaching to the choir because I don't give a fuck. Good for you. I'm glad you started your own business. That's awesome. But anyway, the point of it is you bought it because all your rich friends at the country club fucking got old cars and told you, hey, you should buy this Chevelle here. We'll, lick each other's balls over them. And that's what he did. And the comment I left was, I see this all the time. Rich folks, or non-car guys, as I like to call them, non-car guys, will just go out and buy these cars just because their friends have them. They want to be a part of a trend, and that's what they do. And then they turn around and they know absolutely jack shit about the car that they bought. I mean, it's like, I'm not a Mopar guy. Say I went out and bought a 69 Super B because, well, for one, they're fucking awesome. Number two, they're powerful cars and they have crazy ass fucking colors, and that's the shit that I like. If I bought that, I have no fucking clue about anything on that car. I can work on it, yes. Do I know about the timing specs? No. Do I know anything about the internals of the engine that's in it? No, I don't. Because I'm not a Chrysler guy. I'm a GM guy, mostly. I do have a few Fords, as you've seen. I don't know a whole lot about those Fords, but I'm learning. I'm trying to learn. But I'm going to tell you that the only reason I got the Fords that I got is because of their noted reliability. That's why I got them. Because they are clearly reliable vehicles. And when I buy stuff like that for daily transportation, it's got to be reliable, which they have proven that they are. And there's a shitload of them. Those Crown Victorias and Grand Marquis, there's a shitload of those motherfuckers all over the place. I bet there's more of them than what there is people in the United States. Those cars have been sent all over the fucking world. Everybody uses them. Those Saudi Arabians sit around and bitch about us, say what scum we are and how we're a bunch of fucking douchebags. What the fuck are they driving around? Goddamn old Chevys and Fords. That's what they're running around. And call me a douchebag and a scuzzball and how America sucks, but yet you're driving all our fucking shit. Whatever. But anyhow, the point I'm trying to make here is a non-car guy got a car, he knows nothing about it, and he's asking questions about it. And I just pointed out the obvious, and now they're all pissed at me. Which, look at that right there. Do I look like I give a fuck about that? I don't. If you want to go out there and spend all your fucking money on a car, that's, overpay for the motherfucker because you're an idiot, go for it. Go. Because the market is insane on these cars. I don't see it getting real better anytime soon. But I know a guy that restores these and sells them for a living. And he tells me what's popular and what's not. Right now, of course, your 67 to 69 Camaro is just out of this world popular. You can't get your hands on one for less than $100 fucking grand. Unless you find one at a car lot like, I don't know, Maple Motors down there in Hendersonville, Tennessee. You can get one off him, or he can find you one, whatever. And they can put you in one for way less than $100,000, more like $30,000, $40,000. They can get you one. It might not be perfect. The horn probably won't work, and the radio probably won't work in it. Wipers might not work. It'll have flaws. But he'll honestly show you the flaws and everything in these cars. If you're looking for a decent car to maybe finish up or take somewhere and have somebody finish it, whatever your preference is, or just something that you want to just cruise around in, that's the guy you need to see. They'll even ship them cocksuckers to you. They'll even finance it. And they'll show you. Nick on there shows the flaws of every fucking car. He test drives them. Shows you how they run. Has a camera on the ground. Drives over his camera so you can see the underneath. He'll show the engine. The interior. Show the flaws in the paint. He'll do it all. You hear the car run. He drives it. He'll tell you, hey, this is the first I drove this car. He'll put a little gas in it and let you know if the gauge is working or not. Shit like that. It's pretty honest. They're pretty honest dealership. Car lot. Not a dealership, but They're pretty honest. So I hand them that. If I ever won the fucking lottery and I was going to go get a car, he's probably the first place I would hit up. I would travel down there to get a car off him, or 10. I don't know. He has some pretty nice shit on the lot down there that I'd like to have. Old trucks and cars and man, I would have, my fucking zipper would be digging the paint off all them cars, me walking around them down there, because I'd have such a hard on, wondering what the fuck I'm going to buy and take home. But anyhow, these guys, they're all mad. They go on here and, this car won't start up. It won't start. Or the switch won't turn off. It's a 4-speed car. The switch won't turn clear off. Well, that's because there's a fucking rod for the fucking switch. You got to shift all them munchies into reverse before you turn them off. And before you can get the key out of the switch. They all got them in reverse. Now, you can take that rod off. And you can put it in any gear you want after that and shut it off. It'll release the switch, the key off to you. But if not, you got to take that rod off. That rod will keep you from... It's a safety thing. It's so you can't take the keys out of it. It's got to be in gear. It's a memory thing. It's, hey, put your 4-speed car in gear before you run off. So that's what they do. If not, your battery's going to get dead because the switch is going to stay on. And you got to put it in gear because if not, it's going to run off. But anyhow, these people were just, they're batshit crazy. But I watched that Patrick Glenn Nichols a good bit, and he does find some nice cars, and he finds some fucking junk. But he can more or less, reading a VIN number to me is like going into the Egyptian tombs and trying to read hieroglyphics. He decodes these fucking VIN numbers on these body plates. And he tells you what is in the car, what it came with, what it's supposed to have. And he can tell you whether it's been fucked with or not. He knows. He can see it. He knows what he's looking for. He even knows the numbers on the fucking brake boosters, the master cylinders, the fucking pulleys on the motor. He knows all of it, even the radiator codes. He can tell you whether it's the right clutch fan. This fucking guy knows his shit. You couldn't pull the wool over this guy's eyes. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. Clearly. I'm getting all dried up bitching about this. But that's better. I had to get a drink. Christ's sakes. But yeah, you're not going to pull the wool over Patrick Glenn Nichols' eyes on Chevelles. There's no way. Had to spit. But anyway, everybody, there's your fucking Chevelle cold start for the weekend. And it's literally cold. It's not freezing or anything like that. Don't make me talk too much about that. That'll jinx me here. But anyhow, everybody, it is not true what they say. These people were telling you can't read nothing on a 1970 year model Chevelle, on the VIN tag, on the protective plate on the body. They're fucking full of shit. Every goddamn one of them is full of shit. Because yes, you can. And there's no use to argue with those guys, because when you have a douchebag amongst the group that thinks they fucking know everything about every goddamn thing, you're not going to tell them anything. Because they're assholes, and they just will... they constantly are bitching at me. There's a whole bunch of guys that are bitching at me. Hey, what are you jumping down my throat for? It's like, no, I'm just stating the obvious. I'm not being mean. I'm not jumping down anybody's throat. I'm just telling you. If you want to know anything about your car, you can either get that book that shows you how to read the VIN number, which is a no-brainer. One guy told me to roll that book up and shove it up my ass. It's like, okay, well, because I've used the book before. I don't have one. My uncle has one. We put it on the last Chevelle I had. I had a 70 back when I was 16. Me and my dad finished or fixed up, and we painted it yellow. I wanted to know where it was built, what it trim option it was. And interior color, engine, transmission. It was a 70. It was the same green color. Two-door hardtop, green interior, bench seat. And it had a 307 in it from the factory with a power glide. And it had a 10-bolt rear end in it. Now this car here had a 10-bolt too. And it had 273 rear ends in it. The 10-bolt in the other Chevelle I had 308 gears in it. Now, those are good interstate gears. But the only reason it had the 308 in there is because it had the power glide. And they usually do that unless you request another rear. But what comes standard with a power glide transmission is them 308s. Now, if you get a Super Sport Chevelle and you want a little bit of mileage, really, if you think you're going to get any, you can have the 273 or the 308 put in a 12-bolt series. But it was a 10-bolt. Both of them was 10 bolts. Oh, yeah. But anyway, mine was all chewed up. I told you the story before. The spider ears were all chewed up. Looked like it was going to fly apart. There was a lot of shavings in there. The carrier was clearly failing. So I went on the hunt for a rear, and I found one out of a 69 Chevelle. And it was a Super Sport that it came out of. And it was junk. The car was completely trashed. It was garbage. So no major loss there. But the guy sold the rear end to me. It had 331s in it from the factory. Plus he threw in a ring gear and pinion 373s that were also GM factory gears. So I didn't have to do any hard setting up of those gears. All I had to do was just put the same shims from the 308 in there. Because what they do from the factory, they have standard shims they put in those carriers, and the ring gear thicknesses are made differently. Everything is machined for each other at the factory. Everything's machined to go together correctly. It's like when you buy ring gear and pinion, they're machined at the same time for each other. You can't take the pinion off of another set of 410s and put them with another set of 410s because it won't work. They don't mesh properly. It will actually destroy itself. Not at first, but it'll get to howling and stuff. I've been there, done that. I've done it. And I've learned from that mistake. And that's what happens when you do trial and error. You make mistakes. You learn from them. Which I have. I learned a lot over the years. I'm only 45. I have a lot more to learn before they're shoveling dirt on me. But anyhow, everybody, just thought I would pass that on to you. And for one, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, and I am a bullshitter. So, fuck those assholes on Facebook. They're a bunch of douchebags. They are non-car guys on that site because they see works of art that they really like. All these Chevelles are catching to the eye because they're wonderful. They're fucking fantastic. The designers of GM back in the day were fucking geniuses. And there was way more technology into making cars back then than what you thought. Even back in the 30s when they was making cars, I was amazed at the fucking technology that they had back then. They were making cars. But anyway. GM sucks ass today. So does Ford and Chrysler. They all lick balls because all their cars look the same. They're all plastic, tinny garbage with shitloads of technology that's unnecessary because people are lazy and retarded today. And they're really stupid and they're afraid to shift gears. Anyway, enough of me bitching about this stuff. I'll have to stop this great video. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think down in the fucking comments. Whether you like the video or not. You'll probably skip right past this. You'll probably get to the fucking cold start and say fuck it. And shift it off to the next video or whatever. All right, everybody. I will see y'all in the next one, and enjoy your shitty fucking Sunday, because Sundays suck ass. Like fucking herpes. So. All right, everybody. See you on the next one.